Firstly, I'm going to talk a few tips regarding the ultrasound physics. You can say it's just the first session. We will talk about the probe selection or transducer selection, first of all, and then about the depth and gel. What is the role of gel in ultrasound scanning? So, first of all, the selection of probe or transducer, that's really important because you have to select the right probe for the right study, the right probe for the right application. For example, if we are scanning heart, but we use a linear probe for that, so that will be totally wrong because the resolution and the frequency of operating frequency, it's not made for that. So let's choose the right probe for the right study. And also when we choose a probe, the right probe, then we have to choose the right application for that too. For example, we even can use the cardiac probe for the renal studies too. But when we choose that probe, we have to to select the application of the renal or the kidneys also. So let me show you, first of all, just the probes, which types of probes we have to have. So these are the different probes, if you guys can see it. For example, we have a curvilinear probe. So normally we use this for the general OB and abdominal applications. That's the use of this probe. But sometimes we can use the same probe for the vascular too, maybe for really deep structures, even if it's a peripheral vascularity, if it's a vein or arteries, maybe the person has more tissue, and then the linear probe cannot operate or cannot penetrate better, then we have to use the curvilinear probe. But when we choose this probe, the curvilinear probe, for the vascular studies, then we have to also select the right application for that. We have to select the vascular application for that. We have to change that application for this, not to use it for the OB or abdominal in that case. So that will operate because we change the probe automatically adjusts the resolution of the machine for your study. If you use the curvilinear probe for the peripheral vascularity, any arterial venous studies, it will give you the image, but the image quality will be really bad. That will be not a good quality because the probe was selected and for the application of abdomen or OBGYN or any deep other structures, because these probes, the curvilinear probe or the echo probes, are the low frequency probes. So if you have to use them for different applications, you have to change the application with that. Do not use it with the same application like it is. For example, this is built or this designed for general OB or abdomen or any other deep structures. So to have that, you can use it for the superficial stuff, not too superficial, but I mean sometimes we cannot operate with the linear probe because this is the correct probe for peripheral vascularity, for example, or any other structure in a normal way. We use the linear probe because it's a high frequency probe for vascular, for MSK, small parts application. You can use the curvilinear for these purposes too, but you have to choose the right application for them. For example, you have to choose the vascular, in that case, small part, if it's a breast or any other area, or for a muscle skeletal. So the main thing is select your probe for the right application. So first of all, if I'm using the curvilinear probe, I have to use it for OB, for abdomen. But if I need it, for example, for the ICA or ECA, even that's a vascular study. But then I have to choose the application of vascular, not of the abdomen or OB. Then in that case, this probe will work for vascular, for ICA distally, so I can have the image, so the image quality will be better. Now, what is the difference between them? The probes are low frequency and high frequency. So when they have a low frequency probes we have, so the low frequency probes penetrate better, they go deeper, really deeper, but the resolution is not good. The resolution is poor, but their penetration is better. And we have a high frequency transducer. High frequency transducer will give us better resolution, but poor penetration because they have a limit to go to penetrate in the tissue and come back. So the brief of this is choose the right probe for the right application. So you can use the probes for different studies, but you have to choose the right application for that. For example, if I'm using the cardiac probe, normally this is a cardiac probe, so it means it's supposed to be used for echocardiography. But I can use this also for the renal studies, for the pelvic studies. I can use it for any prostate, ovaries, or uterus. But in that case, I have to choose the right application of, for example, in that case, it will be not echocardiography application. In that case, it will be prostate. That will be renal application. Then I can use it, and then the resolution will be good. Because sometimes we use the cardiac probe to see, for example, a spleen. So because of the footprint, it's a small footprint, it can better penetrate the whole sound inside the rib. Because if I'm using the curvilinear probe, which is the right probe to be used for spleen, but because of the footprint, a big footprint, so I will have a lot of shadows of ribs. So in that case, I can use my cardiac probe. But when I'm using, I have to choose not echocardiography. I have to use abdominal application for that. I have to change it to that. So that's one thing. The second thing I want to talk about is the ultrasound gel. When we use the gel, gel has a really important impact, or it is really important for us because we have to have a medium. We have to connect the connection between the probe and the tissue. So that gel eliminate air because sound cannot travel in the air. So we have to have enough gel to let the sound to penetrate and have a bridge, have a connection between the tissue. So this way the gel can travel through the gel, the sound, sorry. The sound can travel through the gel, and then from there it can go to the tissue. And then after the tissue, it goes inside and bring us the echoes. Same way, we let the sound to go to the gel, from the gel to the tissue, and coming back echoes from the tissue to the gel to the probe. So this way we see. So gel has really, really important impact. This is the gel, you guys can see it, just a small example. So yeah, use enough gel. I will recommend, especially if you're scanning abdomen, OB, or any deeper structures, use a lot of gel. So that gel will make your work easier. Sometimes the technician, they use a small amount of gel for some reason, I don't know why, but then they cannot have a good image. You will have a lot of, because your sound cannot reach, your sound cannot hit the tissue like the all sound, because there's maybe air in the middle, which sound cannot travel on it. So use more gel for that. Gel is to eliminate all that area of air. So after that, let me talk about a little bit about the depth. Depth is very important because if we look at on this image, let me make it a little bit larger maybe. So if we look, always choose the right depth, because for the sound, it takes longer to travel all the way to hit the last boundaries and come back. So for the sound to go all the way and come back, that takes longer time. So always choose the right depth. Your depth has to be really, really important for the scanning part. For example, this is a 2 centimeter depth, and this person wanna scan, this is the target tissue, or that's the interest of the study area. So if this is one of the interest of the area, Have your depth 1 centimeter deeper than that. Just adjust your depth 1 centimeter deeper from the area of interest. This is a good image for me. Maybe somebody want a little more depth, that's okay. Maybe you can have a little more depth. But if you look at here, maybe this is also fine. This is a little too much, we can say, because the depth is a little more in this area, because that take longer for the sound to travel all the way to the last boundary and come back and bring the information for you. It makes the machine slower. The sound is traveling, and it's just the longer they travel, they lose their energy also, and then coming back. So you will have a less frame rate. You will have a less cineback option, because when we freeze the image and we take the image and see the image, we have to cineback and choose the right image or the right frame rate. This is a 5 centimeter, so this is worse than this 4 centimeters. So this is 5 centimeter. If this is my area of interest, why I should have this much depth? Because it's too much work for the machine, and it's just extra unnecessary, supposed to not. And then we have this is a 6 centimeter depth. So this is the worst in all of them, from the 3 centimeter, 4 in centimeter. So this is the worst. The same area of the interest where we had it, and the 2 centimeter. So then why I have this much depth? So please just select the right depth. I like this image because it's really close. The frame rate is really high. I have more option for when I freeze the image, I have more options to choose the right image and read it. If I'm a doctor and I'm a reading doctor, so it'll give me more information. If I'm giving to somebody, if I'm a technician of ultrasound and I can give it to somebody else, so that doctor also can read my image and can write the report, because it's more closer, it has more frames, and he can choose, or I can choose for him the best frame rates. So in that case, if this give me, for example, if I have on the image number 1, if I have for example 300 frame rates, 300 images, on number 6, the last one, on the 6 centimeter, I may have 50 or 40 images. So now I have less chance or less option here to cineback and choose the right image. So please, once again, the depth is important, because depth also really have important impact on your frame rate. And frame rate is the number of images per second. So the increase the depth will bring the frame rate smaller, and decrease the frame rate, decrease the depth will give you the highest the frame rate. So always just choose the area of the interest, and 1 centimeter more than that increase your depth, not this much. So hopefully that will help you. So let me see if there's any comments, anything, suggestion, please let me know, and I will be happy to help you guys. So let me unfreeze my image.